You know, after the July 2020 mini Nintendo Direct and considering the Nintendo Switch games that were shown, one, it makes me wonder if there are any huge Nintendo Switch games coming out for the rest of 2020, and two, if those Super Mario 35th anniversary rumors are true or not. Who knows, maybe that Lego set was what it was about, which, my god, I hope not. I need Mario Sunshine and Super Mario Galaxy on the Nintendo Switch. Hey guys, it's Rob here, and welcome back to the Robo Show, where we cover the latest gaming news, leaks, and rumors from Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo in 2020 and beyond. If you want to be kept up on the latest gaming news, make sure you click that red subscribe button below this video and that notification bell so you know when I upload. In this video, we're going to talk about the July 2020 mini Nintendo Direct and whether or not it was a bad mini Nintendo Direct. We're also going to talk about certain words that Nintendo used in the mini Nintendo Direct that could indicate what Nintendo Directs could look like for the rest of the year in 2020, and when we will most likely see that full Nintendo Direct that sets up Nintendo and the Nintendo Switch in 2020 and 2021. I also want to open the conversation of the Super Mario 35th anniversary rumors not being true or not being what we think they are. So I think it's safe to say that Nintendo is keeping a lot of their Nintendo Switch plans close to themselves, and for whatever Nintendo reason is not sharing them with their install base. For a very long time now, we haven't had much Nintendo Switch announcements or any Nintendo news on Nintendo Switch games in 2020, 2021, and even beyond that. And this has caused some anger among the Nintendo Switch community. A lot of us have invested in this Nintendo Switch platform. A lot of Nintendo Switch owners only have money for one platform, and when you can't buy into other platforms, your own platform is the Nintendo Switch. So when you're not getting games or you don't know what games are coming to Nintendo Switch, it can be frustrating. And you know, for me, it's not about the Nintendo Directs really. I just want to know what I can expect in the platform that I bought and I invested in, as I'm sure anyone in the PS4 and Xbox One and PC and so on would want to know. And I do love the games that we got so far, but I would like to see the future of the Nintendo Switch explained by Nintendo. Now, don't get me wrong, we have had some announcements recently. We have the Animal Crossing Direct with the Animal Crossing reveal, and of course the Paper Mario and the Origami King, and some small indie titles and third-party Nintendo Switch games. But when it comes to first-party Nintendo Switch games, we don't really know anything aside from a couple things for 2020 and 2021 release dates. Not really just first-party games, third-party games, and second-party games too. We don't know about Bayonetta 3, Breath of the Wild 2, No More Heroes 3, Metroid Prime 4, other huge Nintendo Switch games for 2022, like I said, third-party games. I mean, Nintendo has pretty much left us in the dark. And it's kind of scary here. So when those July 2020 Nintendo Direct leaks and rumors started to whirl around the internet, we had a lot of hope that we could see games that we really wanted to see on the Nintendo Switch. Those Super Mario 35th anniversary games, Breath of the Wild 2, Metroid Prime 4, and more were among the speculation for this July Nintendo Direct in 2020. But then Nintendo released the tweet that tweeted out the words of a new mini Nintendo Direct. This Direct, according to the tweet, was a mini Nintendo Direct partner showcase that will showcase Nintendo Switch games already announced previously. Not exactly what we were expecting, really. The Nintendo Switch games that were shown were DLC for Cadence of Hyrule, Rogue Company, WWE 2K Battleground, and Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne Remaster, and of course, finally, a trailer for Shin Megami Tensei 5, which according to Nintendo and the trailer is coming out in 2021. The majority of Nintendo Switch games that were shown at the mini Nintendo Direct for July were actually pretty good in my opinion, but I would say that these Nintendo Switch games that were revealed should have not been in this mini Nintendo Direct, and here's why. Yes, these games were already previously announced, and yes, they did tweet up to set up expectations, but showing these third-party games and second-party games should have been saved for a larger mini Nintendo Direct. A perfect example of this was the last mini Nintendo Direct. We had a lot of cool reveals, and it was actually a very fun and good mini Nintendo Direct, and it also did the very important thing that every Nintendo Direct should do. It got us excited for Nintendo Switch games that are coming in the coming months. This one didn't really do that. I mean, what about Bayonetta 2, No More Heroes 3? Heck, Pokemon Snap could have made it too, because it's being made by Bandai Namco, so technically it could have been there too. Now, of course, that's still in development, so maybe they didn't have any footage to show for that game, so that's understandable if that's the case. If they would have added one of those bigger second or third party games in the mini Nintendo Direct, it would have been at very least very decent. If you're not interested in Shin Megami Tensei, then this probably fell flat on its face for you. Since I'm interested in Shin Megami Tensei 5, it didn't exactly fall flat on its face for me, but just not as hard as people who are not interested in Shin Megami Tensei 5 and Shin Megami Tensei 3. Now, they use some specific wording when talking about what we can expect after this mini Nintendo Direct. In other words, the future of Nintendo Directs for what I would say is the rest of summer leading into fall. Now, according to the announcer, these Nintendo Directs that are partner showcases will be a series of Nintendo Directs. In other words, more of these to come. Recently, in a Nintendo shareholder meeting, Shintaro Furukawa, a Nintendo president, said that they were looking for new ways to promote their products, and this could potentially be one of those ways. So what's the purpose of this? Well, remember that momentum that I always talk about in all my videos when talking about Nintendo Switch and Directs and stuff? Well, this is probably why. Nintendo wants to keep that hype of momentum, which what they're showing isn't really gonna do that in my opinion. I mean, these games are for a very small portion of the Nintendo Switch install base. But it's not all doom and gloom for Nintendo Directs and Nintendo Switch. If the next games that are shown at the next mini Nintendo Direct are good and exciting Nintendo Switch games, people will get excited. Come maybe September, when summer is over, we will get closer to the holidays, so Nintendo will probably hold that huge Nintendo Direct. And according to Nintendo President Shintaro Furukawa, out of that Nintendo shareholder meeting, things should be getting back on track at the end of summer. So if things are getting back on track with the production of Nintendo Switch games, and according to them, if the games that are going to be coming out are also on track, then I would think they would be showing us a huge Nintendo Direct set up 2020. One would think anyways, but this is Nintendo we're talking about. And what I mean by that is this is a new Nintendo Direct, a new type of Nintendo Direct, the Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase series, which makes me wonder if Nintendo will start doing this for not only these kind of Nintendo Directs for the third-party and first-party Nintendo Switch games, but also their first-party games. Is this what they were talking about when they were trying to find new ways to promote Nintendo Switch products? Instead of waiting 3 or 4 months or sometimes 5 for the next Nintendo Direct, maybe we'll be getting them every 2 months or 1 month. And maybe they won't be as big as the full Nintendo Directs, but we'll still get those amazing announcements more concurrently as we did before. I meant than we did before, that's what I meant. Which I kinda like that idea, getting these small Nintendo Directs as long as the games that are shown are fun and things that we can look forward to. And that's the huge thing here. These small Directs, like the recent one, are games that I would say would be cool paired with huge announcements. Kinda like an appetizer of the main dish. Together they are fantastic, but alone you think, yeah, that tasted good, but I want the main dish. And if you don't get the main dish, you're just left hangry. That's hungry and angry put together if you don't know about that. Nobody likes a hangry Nintendo fan. So here's kind of my theory of what the next 365 days will look like for the Nintendo Switch and Nintendo going forward. I think we're gonna get these mini Nintendo Directs that showcases second and third party games until we get closer to the holidays. Say November, late September at the latest, and then we will get those huge Nintendo Directs that sets up 2020 and 2021 in late September and November. I also think we might get some hints on new hardware for the next product of Nintendo, the next Nintendo console. And of course, new games that are going to be coming with that. Because if you didn't know, out of that shareholder meeting, Nintendo did talk about new hardware in the next Nintendo console and the team that will be making it. There is also a possibility that the series of small Nintendo Directs could replace those full Nintendo Directs too. But judging by how the Nintendo Switch fan base responded, I highly doubt that. Now there's probably one puzzle piece that's missing to this, right? Those Super Mario 35th anniversary rumors. Now those were never confirmed by Nintendo themselves, so they are still rumors, but are those rumors true? Because that's kind of the thing that's creeping in my mind right now. If the rest of the announcements are indeed not first party games, unless those remasters are being held by third party and second party companies, then it's not much of a stretch that those Super Mario 35th anniversary rumors are not true. Which honestly, that would destroy me. I really want all these Mario games on Nintendo Switch so I can play them on the go. I've never played Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, and I never finished Mario Sunshine, so I would love those to come to Nintendo Switch, and if they're not, I'd kind of be disappointed. Which in the end, that would be my fault for giving into these rumors, because they're not true yet, they're not confirmed by Nintendo, so that would be on me. But that doesn't really change the fact that I'd be disappointed. We also can't forget about next-gen consoles with the Xbox Series X and PS5. Whether Nintendo wants to admit it or not, they are competing with them this holiday, whether someone wants to buy a Nintendo Switch, PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X, or Xbox One, and so on. So they are competing for the consumer's dollar. So if Nintendo wants to buy their games and their hardware and the Nintendo Switch games that are going to be coming out in holiday of 2020, they need to market them. I'm hoping Nintendo does have that full Nintendo Direct to set up 2021, and of course the holiday of 2020, and so on. Now the virus is still here, so Nintendo could end up delaying things and have this informationless Nintendo drought. According to them, the virus could change plans for them and for the Nintendo Switch, so you never really know, especially if the virus flares up after summer, which is always a possibility. But it really makes me wonder, if Sony and Xbox can do these large events, why can't Nintendo? I mean, at this point, we don't even need a Nintendo Direct. Release a list of games, dates, and trailers, and that would be fine enough. Heck, I'd be even fine with just a list. It's like I said in the beginning of this video, it's not about Nintendo Directs exactly for me. I honestly couldn't really care if we have Nintendo Directs or not. I just want to know about the games that I invested in, the platform that I invested in, and what I can expect on the Nintendo Switch. I mean, that would be nice. And also, if you enjoyed this video and want to know how you can support the Robotron show more than just watching the video and leaving likes and comments, which by the way, thanks for taking the time out of your day to watch this video, it really helps me out. You can check out my Patreon and maybe, just maybe, I can pay that power bill. Link in the pinned comment if you're interested here. So where's that switch? Ah, here it is. So what do you think about the mini Nintendo Direct? What do you think Nintendo's plans are? Are you also starting to think that those Super Mario 35th Anniversary Mario rumors are not true? Tell me your thoughts in the comment section below, and for more Nintendo Switch news and Nintendo Direct related videos, subscribe to Robo Gaming. Thanks for watching guys, and remember, stay safe, stay charged, and have a good one.